I walk away every morning, come back. So when I can't find my Carmex, I gotta get my little oil. I use black seed oil on my lips. Yeah, because I can't find my Carmex. I have beautiful people. Need some kind of sunlight. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. All right, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. It is April the 14th, 2022. Day 82 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1100. 1100. Mom, shalom. Francis. Shalom, Brad. All right, beautiful people. So we'll be picking up on page XIX in the OAHSPE, starting with the editor's notes, and then it actually begins the reading, like the first page, page 1, and we just get into it. All right, y'all. Hold on. Actually, yeah, page 1. It ain't number, but it's page 1. And then we're going to pick up where we left off in the meditation book. So, Father, we thank you for another day. Lead us and guide us into truth always. All right. Editor's notes in the OAHSPE. This book utilizes the text of the 1891 edition. The discrepancies between this text and that of the 1882 edition, the only 2 original editions that exist, have been annotated in the footnotes. All footnotes refer to these differences. Footnotes are denoted by numbers. Consequently, this lowest edition reflects the original manuscript in as complete and accurate a way as possible, considering the fact that the original manuscript is no longer available for comparison. The differences between the text detailed in the footnotes include additions, deletions, and alterations. Text from the 1882 edition that was deleted in the 1891 edition is shown in bold italics. Text that was added in the 1891 edition appears in square brackets. When text was altered between the 1882 and the 1981 editions, the earlier text from the 1882 edition appears in the footnote in bold. Standard type in the footnotes refers to the text that remains constant between the 2 editions but has been included for clarity's sake. Most commentaries on the text, including the editor's selection of footnotes that appeared in either edition, have been moved to the endnotes at the end of each book. The endnotes include only those commentaries for which an obvious substantiating source could be cited or deemed by the editors as helpful to understand the text. Endnotes are denoted by letters of the alphabet. Endnotes with attribution, the bulk of the glossary, and the 3 plates that accompany it were written by the Elohist editors. Obvious typographical errors, grammatical errors, and inconsequential alterations in either edition have been corrected without being footnoted. This included several instances in an entire line of text. This included several instances in which an entire line of text was deleted from the 1882 edition in a manner consistent with a proofreading error. Where these instances consisted of a complete line of text deleted in apparent error, the line was restored without a footnote. There were also several instances in which differences in language expressions between the 2 editions did not alter the meaning of the text, but would have generated numerous redundant footnotes. For the sake of simplicity, the first occurrence of each change has been footnoted. All subsequent occurrences were not footnoted. These alterations were as follows. And it's 12 of them. All right. Lindsay, Yah, Borker, Toe, Belinda Brown. Hey, Auntie. Audrey, Shalom. Jerry. Oh, great Spirit, teach us your truth and wisdom so that we live our lives giving you all the glory. And hello to Facebook, those lurking in the shadows. Okay, number 1. The 1882 edition of OAHSPE used X millions and Y hundred thousands. Actually, it has the letter X then millions, and the letter Y, 100,000 in its text, while the 1891 edition used X million, Y 100,000. The second one, in many places in the 1882 edition, used million of, and millions of in its text, while the 1891 edition used million in all three cases. Number 3, the 1882 edition used billion and million, while the 1891 edition used thousand and million. For example, the 1882 edition's text had 3,700,000,000, and the 1891 edition's text had 3,700 million, which was a different way to express the same number. Another difference was where the 1882 edition's text had 4,200, while the 1891 edition's text used 4,200, deleting and. Consequently, as long as the numbers expressed were the same in both editions, regardless of the language used, it has not been footnoted. Number 4, in many instances, the 1882 edition used druj, D-R-U-J, while the 1891 edition used drujas or ruha. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the D is silent. Rouge and ruhas, I think. I don't know, but I spelled it for you. In many cases, the 1882 edition used rouge, D-R-U-J, while the 1891 edition used rujas, D-R-U-J-A-S, for the plural noun. Number 5, the 1882 edition sometimes used ship star, while the 1891 edition used star ship. Number 6, the 1891 edition occasionally added hyphens to make compound words that do not change the meaning of the text, e.g., after dash or after hyphen generations and after hyphen ages. The 1882 edition used after generations and after ages, and both of those words are used without the hyphens in the current version, the 1891. Number 7, the 1882 edition used whoever or whoso or whosoever, while the 1891 edition used whomsoever. Number 8, according to the book of Safa, maybe it's Saf. Safa is spelled S-A-P-H-A-H. According to the book of Safa, both G-A and G-I apostrophe A-Y and J. Did I say G or J? I don't know what I just said. I'm going to just say it again. Okay. According to the book of Safa, both J-I apostrophe A-Y, so G-A, and G-Ya, J-I apostrophe Y-A, seem to be synonymous since they were used interchangeably between the two editions. Differences in choice of wording have been noted in the footnotes. G-A, J-I apostrophe A-Y, is used throughout whenever a reference was noted between the two editions. Number 9, students of OAHSPE may notice that this edition deletes an extensive commentary included in all earlier editions that was extracted from Alexander von Humboldt's work, Cosmos. These extensive quotations were inserted by Dr. Monroe to substantiate parts of OAHSPE, particularly aspects of the book of cosmology and prophecy. Von Humboldt's Cosmos gained a degree of popularity in the mid-1800s as it endeavored to demonstrate the interconnectedness of nature, emphasizing precise empirical measurements and instrumentation. While Humboldtian science helped advance the scientific method at that time in its own way, This material is now only of historical interest and had no direct connection with OAHSPE as such. The extensive quotation from Humboldt's Cosmos seemed to imply such a connection, which was certainly not the case. Therefore, these references have been deleted, keeping the emphasis on the text of OAHSPE instead. In the 1882 edition, also included extensive quotations from Anacalyptus by Godfrey Higgins, which was first published in 1833. This ponderous work sought to demonstrate the existence of a root religion from which all later religions evolved. Since this work also had no direct connection with OAHSPE, these references, which had been part of Newbro's commentary on this text, have been deleted as well. Number 10. OAHSPE often uses abbreviations for the name of the various books. For example, Book of Ben denotes God's Book of Ben. Book of Cosmology signifies Book of Cosmology and Prophecy. These abbreviations have been maintained in this edition of OAHSPE. Number 11. Any added words or phrases that appear in the text in square brackets should be understood as an 1882 editorial comment and not a part of the original manuscript. The only exception is in the Book of Safa, where language references are in parentheses and non-language references are in brackets. Number 12. Index notations. When a cited reference in the index has the same verse number appearing in both the upper and lower book, and italics superscript L is used for a lower book verse, and U or lowercase l, hold on, let me read it again. Index notations. When a cited reference in the index has the same verse number appearing in both the upper and lower book, and italics superscript lowercase l is used for a lower book verse, and lowercase u is used for an upper book verse for clarity as to which verse the referenced citing applies. Finally, as all of us make allowances for the errors and flaws found within all books, including OAHSPE, the editors of this lowest edition trust that the reader will also forgive us for any additional errors or flaws we may have introduced into either the text or supplementary materials, in spite of our best efforts to the contrary. All right, Uncle JB, Grand Rising, Zoe, Betwabu. Okay. Suggestions. It's probably coming a little bit too bright on YouTube. Okay. Not so much on Facebook, but it's like this blinding light to the right side from the right. Okay. Suggestions for new students of OAHSPE. The book of the interlude, namely God's Book of Ben, Book of Cosmology and Prophecy, Book of Safa, and Bond's Book of Praise, deal with matters not directly related to the historical narrative of OAHSPE. It has been suggested, therefore, that the books of interlude may be skipped on the first reading of OAHSPE without any loss of understanding. Let me read that again, make sure I understand. It has been suggested, therefore, that the books of the interlude may be skipped on the first reading of OAHSPE without any loss of understanding. We ain't gonna skip, we're just gonna read right through. The books of interlude may then be assimilated at one's leisure at the end of the first reading. The potentially confusing discussions of different cycles of time, ages, eras, gadols, seasons, sums, etc., particularly in the glossary, may be deferred by new students of OAHSPE until a later time as well. But we just going to keep reading right through, y'all. Even the index, like we always do. Once the book is comprehended in its entirety, it will become much easier to appreciate these concepts and their value. Also, it would be unfortunate if, by becoming mired in such academic details, one failed to grasp the greater message of the book. Finally, it may also be helpful to clarify in advance that the terms God and Lord are not used in this text as references to the one and only ever-present Creator or to any worshipful deity. Just as a country may have a president and state governors who serve a term of office, high-raised angels who were once mortals have similar functions in heaven. An angel who serves a term of office as president over the earth is called God, and angels who serve a term of office over divisions of the earth are called lords. OAHSPE is not in any way polytheistic. It teaches that only the ever-present Great Spirit is worshipful, and only the Great Spirit is the source of creation and life, right? So now that we got that right up front, just like we realized as we was going through the complete Anunnaki Bible, the complete Anunnaki Bible, once we got through a little bit of it, we realized that also the Anunnaki knew that there was the great creator, which they refer to as the all, right? Or the Great Spirit, the all in all, right? The one and only. As well as we will see as we're going through the meditation books from ancient Egypt, Amanda Grand Rising, we'll also realize that they also worship one great spirit, right? So the teachings we get sometime from my personal experience coming out of Christianity, when they're talking about these other religions, they have cop teach you because they themselves really haven't studied it or studied it halfway and didn't realize that they didn't worship multiple gods. Their understanding was just skewed, right? From my personal understanding and research, as you dig a little deeper, you'll realize that they're all talking about the same great spirit, the creator of all, right? Okay. Now, this is where the OAHSPE starts. We're 18 minutes. Okay. After the creation of man, the Creator, Jehovah, said unto him, that thou shalt know. Hold on. I think I read it wrong. Okay. After the creation of man, the Creator, Jehovah, said unto him, that thou shalt know thou art the work of my hand. I have given thee capacity for knowledge, power, and dominion. This was the first era. But man was helpless, and it has footnote number 1, helpless. But man was helpless, crawling on his belly, and he understood not the voice of the Almighty, neither stood he upright. Okay, and that's reference number 1. But man was helpless, he understood not the voice of the Almighty, neither stood he upright. And Jehovah called his angels, who were older than the earth, and he said unto them, Go ye, raise man upright, and teach him to understand. And the angels of heaven descended to the earth and raised man upright, and man wandered about on the earth. This was the second era. Jehovah said to the angels that were with man, Behold, man hath multiplied on the earth. Bring ye them together, teach them to dwell in cities and nations. And the angels of Jehovah taught the peoples of the earth to dwell together in cities and nations. This was the third era. ERA, like period of time era, not era like you wrong, era. ERA. And in that same time, the beast, and after beast, it has self, SELF. And in that same time, the beast, self, rose up before man and spake to him, saying, Possess thou whatsoever thou wilt, for all things are thine and are good for thee. And man obeyed the beast, and war came into the world. This was the fourth era. And man was sick at heart, and he called out to the beast, saying, Thou saidst, Possess thyself of all things, for they are good for thee. Now, behold, war and death have encompassed me about on all sides. I pray thee, therefore, teach me peace. But the beast said, Think not I am come to send peace on the earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. Sound Jesus Christ-y like to me, huh? We can keep on reading. I come to set man at a variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother. Whatsoever thou findest to eat, be it fish or flesh, eat thou thereof, taking no thought of tomorrow. And man ate fish and flesh, becoming carnivorous, and darkness came upon him. Neither yet heard he the voice of Jehovah, nor believed in him. And then it has reference number 2. And reference number 2 says, and darkness came upon him, and he no more heard the voice of Jehovah, or believed in him. We can kind of see that's true, right? Especially if you are fully carnivorous, it's hard to hear, especially if you ain't started practicing no kind of discipline. Then I just saw your comment. Read that again. I don't know when you said that, because I don't know how long you've been there. What part did you want me to read again? We can clearly tell simply by the discipline of fasting, when we begin to get all that sentient flesh out our bellies, right? We become lighter spiritually and we hear clearer, right? Okay, I'm just saying, some things we don't know unless we practice a taste of pudding. I'll wait for your comment, Dana, then I'll see if I can go back to that portion you were talking about. I'm gonna have to watch this video again. Get the book. You might have it already. Okay, let me read this again. Matter of fact, let me just go back up to 9. But the beast said, no, let me go back up to 8. 7. And man obeyed the beast, and war came into the world. This was the 4th era. And man was sick at heart, and he called out to the beast, saying, thou saidest, possess thyself of all things, for they are good for thee. Now behold, war and death have encompassed me about all sides. I pray thee, therefore, teach me peace. But the beast said, and listen, when I read this, when I'm reading this the second time, I'm thinking about one particular person I used to listen to. I don't listen to him anymore. Not that there's not any reason, but, I just kind of moved on in my studies. But they were always calling JC the beast. I mean, he wasn't the only one, but a lot of people call JC Satan, right? As they're waking up the truth and they're trying to wade their way through all of this. Now I understand what they were talking about. I don't remember them mentioning OAHSPE, although they could have. Even if they did, my ears weren't even attuned to the word, so I probably missed it, So, but now I'm wondering now if this is where they got that from. Robin, yes, thank you, Audrey. Reading the OAHSPE. Big Blue. Go in the community section. Robin, I posted it again yesterday. For those that want to get it, I gave y'all the same link. I purchased mine from Amazon. I got it for like $30. I think if you got Prime, it's a $5 discount right now. So, but yeah, and it comes pretty quick. All right. And man was sick at heart, and he called out to the beast, saying, thou saidest, possess thyself of all things, for they are good for thee. Now, behold, war and death have encompassed me about on all sides. I pray thee, therefore, teach me peace. But the beast said, think not I am come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. I come to set man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother. Whatsoever thou findest to eat, be it fish or flesh, eat thou thereof, taking no thought of tomorrow. And man ate fish and flesh, becoming carnivorous, and darkness came upon him. Neither yet heard he the voice of Jehovah, nor believed in him. This was the 5th era. And the beast divided itself into 4 great heads, and possessed the earth about, and man fell down and worshipped them. And the names of the heads of the beast were Brahmin, Buddhist, Christian, and Mohammedan. And they divided the earth, and apportioned it between themselves, choosing soldiers and standing armies for the maintenance of their earthly aggrandizement. And the Brahmins had 7 million soldiers, the Buddhists 20 million, the Christians 7 million, and the Mohammedans 2 million, whose trade was killing man. And man, in service of the beast, gave 1/6 of his life and his labor to war and standing armies, and 1/3 of his life he gave to dissipation and drunkenness. This was the 6th era. Jehovah called, and then it has reference number three after called, and it says called out to. Jehovah called, or Jehovah called out to man to desist from evil, but man heard him not. For the cunning of the beast had changed man's flesh, so that his soul was hid as if in a cloud, and he loved sin. That I believe, based on my personal studies of the body, and how when you fast, how the body becomes lighter, the flesh becomes weaker. Like if you could see it in the spirit. This is referenced in the Megillah in Genesis. Really, I must not have got to that part yet. Look, this is good. Reading this and the Holy Megillah in like together, it brings so many things to light. I'm moving kind of slow with that as I go back and forth between the two, comparing. I should just read and just keep going, but sometimes my mind be like a squirrel. I be trying to focus, y'all. Okay. Jehovah called to man to desist from evil, but man heard him not. For the cunning of the beast had changed man's flesh, so that his soul was hid as if in a cloud, and he loved sin. Right? So now you got all this trouble with your flesh and stuff. We don't have like them transparent type fleshly bodies. You have to actually work yourself back up to through the process of life as you transform it from the inside out. Okay. Jehovah called unto his angels in heaven, saying, Go ye down to the earth once more to man, whom I created to inhabit the earth and enjoy it, and say ye to man, Thus saith Jehovah, Behold, the 7th era is at hand. Thy creator commanded thy change from a carnivorous man of contention to an herbivorous man of peace. The 4 heads of the beast shall be put away, and war shall be no more on the earth. Thy armies shall be disbanded, and from this time forth, whosoever desireth not to war, thou shalt not impress, for it is the commandment of thy creator. And we read a little bit about that, or learn a little bit about that in the book of Isaiah, right? About when all war and all these things will be put away, but it's over a period of time, right? Okay. Neither shalt thou have any God, nor Lord, nor Savior, but only thy creator Jehovah. Him only shalt thou worship henceforth forever. I am sufficient unto mine own creations, and to as many as separate themselves from the dominion of the beast, making these covenants unto me, have I given the foundation of my kingdom on earth. And all such shall be my chosen. By their covenants and by their works shall they be known henceforth on the earth as mine, and shall be called Faithis. And it has a reference A, and Faithis says in a footnote, what A says, this should not be misconstrued as the designation of a newly established sect. See entry for Faithis in a glossary. Let's just go to Faithis in a glossary. Faithis, okay. Faithis, by their covenants and their works shall they be known henceforth as mine. 2.20 through 21. Such as separate themselves from the dominion of the beast. 2.19. Such as could comprehend Jehovah. 50.22. Those with the higher light were called the chosen people because they chose God. 61.19 through 20, lowercase l. With my light illume I the soul of my, whoever findeth me, I find also. 210.15. The Ehuan race preserved in purity. 250.1. Two great men created, the creator, the, and the unbeliever. 304.24. This is literally reading like a dictionary, so I'm just reading all of it for faithish, y'all. The and the unbeliever, the one laboreth at the top of the hill, calling upward, the other laboreth at the bottom, pushing upward. 304.29. Come, defeat, disaster or terrible darkness, overpowering your utmost strength. Still struggle ye in the name of Jehovah. The knoweth nothing impractical, but doeth his utmost for his highest light. 343:18 through 19. They profess to be in me, but straightway they go and build fortifications of earth and stone and wood. 299.20. The of Egypt shall circumscribe the earth and complete it by the time of Cosman. 404.4. A new law, the shall not more be left alone for a long season. 405.6 lowercase u. Of Gautama, little learned, but were peaceful and industrious, comprised all the inhabitants save the Ehims. 591.12. The apostate married with Faithists of Western Europa, and of their offspring were the forefathers of those now called French, German, Russian, and English. What? Read that again. The apostate married with Faithists of Western Europa, and their offspring were the forefathers of those now called French, German, Russian, and English. 632.31. Practice harmony and good works, shall ultimately possess the whole earth and make it a paradise of peace, bound unto Jehovah, which is emancipation. Commune with the Father through the second resurrection. 667.15 through 17. Believers in the ever-present person, Jehovah. 668:14 through 21 and 439.25. This it is to be in the Father, appropriate thou me, whichever way I can do the most good unto others. Myself is no longer any consideration. 680:30 through 31. Those who say, whatever thou puttest upon me, O Jehovah, that will I do, all my wisdom and strength. 719:24 through 25. And the last sentence is, as ye accept all peoples as angels, mortals are simply undelivered. 720.25. Okay, and that was in the index. Hold on, y'all. I thought it was a glossary. A glossary / index? No. Y'all done read y'all the index. Hold on. Okay. Well, it's good to know. Let me read what the glossary actually says about faithists. Okay. It's not as long as what that was. Okay. Faithist. One who has faith in Jehovah, the ever-present Great Spirit, being over all and within all to a wise and definite purpose. One who has faith only in Jehovah and not in a God in the shape of a man. One who endeavors to grow in unison with Jehovah by doing good unto others and in striving to put away self-interest. A non-resistant refers to a general way of thinking and living rather than to any one specific organized religion or sect. The opposite of an Uzian. So a faithist is the opposite of a Uzian. And I remember coming across the Uzian in here, and it explains what it is, right? The opposite of an Uzian. Faithists can come from a variety of religious backgrounds and are found within diverse cultures throughout history. A student of OAHSPE is just a student of OAHSPE. The proof is in the person, not in the book one happens to possess. Oh, that might be our title for today. Yo, let me highlight this. The proof is in the person, not in the book one happens to possess. See Book of Ashong, chapter 11, IX, verse 22. Okay. That's our title. The proof is in a person, not in the book one happens to possess. I need to use this bookmarker for that. It's all the way back here. This thing got 2 bookmarks. This blue one and a yellow one. Okay. Where we at? 35 minutes? Okay. We ain't gonna get to read the voice of man today, y'all. Whew. We read that tomorrow. Okay. All right. Where'd I stop? Chosen, Uzians. Hold on. I stopped that faith is somewhere. Oh, okay. Verse 20. Okay. And all such shall be my chosen. By their covenants and by their works shall they be known henceforth on the earth as mine, and shall be called faithless. But to as many as will not make these covenants have I given the numbers of the beast, and they shall be called Uzians, signifying destroyers. So Uzians or destroyers are those who don't follow the one creator, who we call Yah, right? Okay. But we learning not to get so much caught up on names in our later learning days, right? Okay. If you've been here a while, you would understand that. Okay. But as many as will not make these covenants have I given the numbers of the beast, and they shall be called Uzians, signifying destroyers, and these shall be henceforth the 2 kinds of people on earth, Faithists and Uzians. And the angels of heaven descended to the earth to man, and appeared before him face to face, hundreds of thousands of them, speaking as man speaketh, and writing as man writeth, teaching these things of Jehovah and his works. And in the 33rd year thereof, the ambassadors of the angel host of heaven prepared and revealed unto man in the name of Jehovah his heavenly kingdoms, and have thus herein made known the plan of his delightful creations for the resurrection of the peoples of the earth. Not infallible is this book, OAHSPE, but to teach mortals how to attain to hear the Creator's voice, and to see his heavens in full consciousness while still living on the earth, and to know of a truth the place and condition awaiting them after death. And at the beginning of this verse, it said, not infallible is, and it had the reference number 4. And the reference number 4 is not immaculate in. So, not infallible is this book, OAHSPE, or not immaculate is this book of OAHSPE. But to teach mortals how to attain to hear the Creator's voice, and to see his heavens in full consciousness while still living on the earth, and to know of a truth the place and condition awaiting them after death. Neither are nor were the revelations within this OAHSPE wholly new to mortals. The same things have been revealed at the same time unto many who live at remote distances from one another, but who were not in correspondence till afterward. Because this light is thus comprehensive, embracing corporal and spiritual things, it is called the beginning of the cosmic era. And because it relates to the earth, sky, and spirit, it is called OAHSPE. And that is the end of this first chapter entitled OAHSPE, right? So the next chapter we'll start with tomorrow, and it's called The Voice of Man. And it's about as long as this OAHSPE first chapter was, with a few footnotes. With 6 footnotes. Okay, so we'll pause right here. We have 40 minutes. Okay. And we paused on page 31 yesterday. Okay, so we was talking about the process, understanding the 4 great truths, and the shady disciplines that go along with them. So remember this yesterday? If you ain't see this part yesterday, Y'all got to go back and see that and watch this while I read through this portion of it. Yes, that. We're not going to reread it. We're just going to go to the next portion. Okay. The spiritual culture and the purpose of life. Shetu Neter. Quote, men and women are to become godlike through a life of virtue and the cultivation of the spirit through scientific knowledge, practice, and bodily discipline. End quote. And that's an ancient Egyptian proverb. The highest forms of joy, peace, and contentment are obtained when the meaning of life is discovered. When the human being is in harmony with life, then it is possible to reflect and meditate upon the human condition and realize the limitation of worldly pursuits. When there is peace and harmony in life, a human being can practice any of the varied disciplines designated as Shetu Neter to promote his or her evolution toward the ultimate goal of life, which is spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment is the awakening of a human being to the awareness of the transcendental essence which binds the universe and which is eternal and immutable. And this discovery is also the sobering and ecstatic realization that the human being is one with that transcendental essence. With this realization comes great joy, peace, and power to experience the fullness of life and to realize the purpose of life during the time on earth. The lotus is a symbol of Shetu Neter, meaning the turning towards the light of truth, peace, and transcendental harmony. And if y'all, I think everybody here already know who Yaki is. His logo is the lotus flower. He done caught a lot of flack from ignorant Christians and ignorant, and that's not, just ignorant meaning don't know. Our ignorant brethren and sisterin in the Hebrew roots faith, they don't really understand the history of different things. They just kind of take current day translation of information and think everything is wicked and occultic. Not occultic as in hidden, like the true sense of the word is, but when they hear occultic, they hear witchcraft and all this other stuff, right? Yah created everything. Like, he created the flowers, he created the lotus flower, he created the eyes, the body, all the different symbols that we use for life. We have people who have perverted the truth. And now when we go searching for truth, these things that Yah created himself, like the eye in the body where we can see the pineal gland in the brain and the lotus flower, everybody thinking these things are wicked. When the creator made all these things good and very good from the very beginning, we just got some later jokers, Johnny come latelys, that change the definition of everything. And we choose to believe them over the creator who's made everything good. So the lotus flower is not evil, right? And I love his logo, lotus symbol. Okay. The lotus is a symbol of Shetu Neter, meaning the turning towards the light of truth, peace, and transcendental harmony. Next section is entitled Shetu Neter. We have established that the ancient Egyptians were African peoples who lived in the northeastern quadrant of the continent of Africa. They were descendants of the Nubians, who had themselves originated from farther south into the heart of Africa at the Great Lakes region. The society and known history and organized... Hold on, I read that too fast. They created a vast civilization and culture earlier than any other society in known history and organized a nation that was based on the concepts of balance and order as well as spiritual enlightenment. These ancient African people called their land Kemet. Right here is spelled K-A-M-I-T. There's a few different spellings of it. K-A-M-I-T, K-E-M-E-T, K-H-M-E-T, Q-A-M-A-T. I think it's one more spelling. But anyway, it's all talking about the same place, Kemet. It's all pronounced the same, Kemet, right? No matter how it's spelled. These ancient African people called their land Kemet, and soon after developing a well-ordered society, they began to realize that the world is full of wonders, but also that life is fleeting and that there must be something more to human experience. They developed spiritual systems that were designed to allow human beings to understand the nature of this secret being who is the essence of all creation. They called this spiritual system Shatu Neter. Shatu Neter. And they spell it, the first Shatu Neter is SHTAUT, then it's space NTR. And in parentheses, they spell it out with the vowels. SHETAUTNETER. They call it the spiritual system Shatu Neter. Right? Shatu means secret. Neter means divinity. Secret divinity. Shatu Neter. Okay, and so you probably can't see it that good because baby girl drew her little drawing of a spaceship. On the other page, that's what this is from yesterday, right? So if you can see the hieroglyphs, this is secret divinity, right? Shatu Neter. Hold on. I've got it so Facebook can see it. I'm not sure if YouTube can see it yet. I'm going to lift it up for you in a second. Okay. All right, YouTube. All right. So Shatu Neter means secret divinity. Shatu means secret. Neter means divinity. Okay. Who is Neter in Kemet religion? Neter. NTR. So the hieroglyph for Neter, well, you saw it here, but here's also right here. And I'm showing it for those who don't have the book. I know a lot of y'all do have it, but for those who don't, right? Okay. And I think YouTube can see that right here. Neter. Okay. The symbol of Neter was described by an ancient Kemet priest as that which is placed in the coffin. The term Neter or Neter, and let me show you this. Okay. So it's a few different ways you can write it in hieroglyphs. Okay. Hold on. Can y'all see? Hold on, Facebook. Okay, y'all can both see it. All right. Let me just see. Okay. The term Neter, right here, the spelling NTR, right here, or Neter is spelled NTJR, right here. So see how it's the same thing, but it's just kind of, this is kind of lightly drawn. This is darker drawing right here, but it's the same thing. It's just lighter or darker, right? Neter, same thing with this over here. You will see it in different places, but if you study it just a little bit, you'll be able to realize whether it's lightly drawn or darkly drawn, where it looks thicker or whatever. It doesn't change. It's just a different spelling, so to speak, of it. I'm still working through the hieroglyphs myself, but y'all just gotta stay there with me. Y'all can probably help me out. Okay, the term Neter or Neger comes from the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic language, which did not record its vowels. However, the term survives in the Coptic language as Nutar, N-U-T-A-R. The same Coptic meaning, divine force or sustaining power, applies in the present as it did in ancient times. It is a symbol composed of a wooden staff that was wrapped with stripes of fabric like a mummy. And I'll show it. Okay, let me show it again. Just in case y'all ain't got it, just get another look at it. Right here, it's like a staff wrapped in fabric like a mummy. Okay, I think y'all both can see that right here. Okay. It is a symbol composed of a wooden staff that was wrapped with stripes of fabric like a mummy. The stripes alternate in color with yellow, green, and blue. The mummy in Kemetian spirituality is understood to be the dead but resurrected divinity. So the Neter, or the Neter, is actually every human... Hold on. I'm reading it too fast. So the Neter is actually every human being who does not really die, but goes to live on in a different form. Further, the resurrected spirit of every human being is that same divinity. Phonetically, the term NETER is related to other terms having the same meaning, such as the Latin natura, the Spanish naturaliza, the English nature and nutriment, etc. In a real sense, as we will see, NETER means power manifesting as Neteru, and the Neteru are the object. Tongue-tied. Let me start again. Sorry, y'all. In a real sense, as we will see, NETER means power manifesting as Neteru, and the Neteru are the objects of creation, i.e. nature. We are the Neteru. Okay. All right, so we got another chart. The following scriptures represent the foundational scriptures of Kemet culture. They may be divided into 3 categories: mythic scriptures, mystical philosophy, and ritual scriptures. Hold on, did they say 4? 3 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I missed the whole and the comma. Okay. They are divided into 3 categories: mythic scriptures, mystical philosophy and ritual scriptures, and wisdom scriptures, which are didactic literature. Okay, and so you have this chart. I feel like I need to pass out worksheets at the beginning of class. So I had to do, if you got the book, you can see it, but just, because I know some people may not be able to get it where they're at, so that's why I keep showing it. Okay, so the first column, mythic scriptures, literature. Shatu, Asar, Aset, Haru. The myth of Asar, Aset, and Haru, Asarian resurrection theology, pre-dynastic. He actually did a whole book with the Asarian resurrection theology. It's in his library. Just about his whole library is on Amazon, and you can get it. I have this one. I haven't gone through all of it yet because I get them and just kind of, make my little points going through them, but I haven't read through it page for page yet. But all of these ones he lists, he's actually done like separate books on them, breaking them down more to help you understand. So he has like a really comprehensive study. So if you get one, you don't have to get all, but to keep learning and the different roads they lead to, because sometimes you can't go further here until you understand this a little bit more. So you have to kind of go off on a side road, get all this information, then come back in order for you to advance with understanding. It's kind of like that with his books. So, okay. The next one under the same mythic scriptures literature column is Shatu Atum Ra, and that is Anunian theology, pre-dynastic. Then you have Shatu Net, Aset, Hetheru, Satan, Satan, Satian theology, goddess spirituality, pre-dynastic. And it breaks down like the woman and all this stuff. Like in Christianity, all this stuff is like burned in the fire, right? The woman is only made for the man. That's all you need. Kitchen of the bedroom, floor to the kitchen of the bedroom. You need to get all of this stuff. The next one, Shatu Patah, Memphite theology, pre-dynastic. Shatu Amun, Theban theology, pre-dynastic. And I actually have all of them. Okay. The middle column, mystical ritual philosophy literature. You have the coffin texts, and those are found between c. 2040 BCE through 1786 BCE. You also have the papyrus texts, which are found c. 1580 BCE through the Roman period, and it has reference number 2, which says after 1570 BCE they would evolve into a more unified text, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The Egyptian Book of the Dead has a couple more names: Per Im Haru, which is translated into the Book of Coming Forth by Day. Right, the Book of the Dead is like a misnomer to keep people away whom they don't want to see these actual words of life. Per Im Haru, Book of Coming Forth by Day, or the book of awakening, the book of enlightenment, right? They gave it the opposite name to keep people away. Put a boogeyman at the door. All right. The papyrus text, C 1580 through BCE through Roman period, books of coming forth by day. Example of famous papyri, papyrus of Ani, papyrus of Hunifer, papyrus of Kenna, Greenfield papyrus, etc. And then in the last section of the three categories is the wisdom text literature. That's C 3000 BCE through the Ptolemaic period, Ptolemaic, or Ptolemy. Some people say Ptolemy, but the P is silent. Ptolemy, or the Ptolemaic period. Precepts of, I just said the P was silent, but I've been saying Ptah. Look. Okay. I'm still trying to get that. P may or may not be silent. Just know it's spelled with a P at the beginning of it. P, T for Ptolemy, and Ptah, right? Precepts of Ptah Hotep, instructions of any, instructions of a mini mope, AMENEMOPE, etc. And then you have also in the wisdom text literature, Ma'at declarations, literature for all periods, and then has blind harpers songs. Okay. And so the next page, okay. Here it has the NETER and the Neteru. So remember we learned the symbol for NETER, right? Which would be Yah, the supreme source, the all being, the source of all power, and out from the NETER extends the Neteru. So in Egyptian theology or education, everything that comes out, every aspect of Yah, they created into a god or goddess, male and female, composing all of everything of the NETER. NETER, out from the NETER extends the Neteru, right? Okay. And so that's me with my little gold. If y'all books don't have gold, it's because I got colored pencils and I was tracing. Okay. The Neteru, gods and goddesses, proceed from the NETER, supreme being. As stated earlier, the concept of NETER and Neteru binds and ties all of the varied forms of Kemet spirituality into one vision of the gods and goddesses, all emerging from the same supreme being. Therefore, ultimately, Kemet spirituality is not polytheistic, nor is it monotheistic, for it holds that the supreme being is more than a god or goddess. The supreme being is an all-encompassing absolute deity. All right, okay. The Neteru, okay, so this, the little flag sign, we call it a flag sign, but they told us what it was, like a staff wrapped in mummy wrappings, right? Not wrapped in, but like it. It said like, right? Okay, so it's wrapped in those colors. So this is the symbol for Neteru, all that comes out from the creator. So if you saw that in hieroglyphs right there, we'll understand that that's the Neteru, right? All that comes out from the supreme source, the supreme being. Okay. The Neteru. The term Neteru means gods and goddesses. This means that from the ultimate and transcendental supreme being, NETER, come the Neteru. We are the Neteru, right? Okay. I know I keep repeating that, but I want to make sure everybody really understand that. The term Neteru means gods and goddesses. This means that from the ultimate and transcendental supreme being, NETER, come the Neteru. There are countless Neteru. So from one come the many. From one come the many, right? These Neteru are cosmic forces that pervade the universe. They are the means by which NETER sustains creation and manifests through it. So Netarianism is a monotheistic polytheism. That could be our title for today, too, maybe. I don't know. There's so many good things. Hold on. So Netarianism is monotheistic polytheism. The one supreme being expresses as many gods and goddesses. At the end of time, after their work of sustaining creation is finished, these gods and goddesses are again absorbed back into the supreme being. All of the spiritual systems of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, have one essential aspect that is common to all. They all hold that there is a supreme being, NETER, who manifests in a multiplicity of ways through nature, the Neteru. Like sun rays, the Neteru emanate from the divine. They are its manifestations. So by studying the Neteru, we learn about and are led to discover their source, the NETER, So by studying the Neteru, we learn about and are led to discover their source, the NETER, and with this discovery, we are enlightened. The Neteru may be depicted anthropomorphically or zoomorphically in accordance with the teaching about NETER that is being conveyed through them. All right. We'll pause right here because we at like an hour and 2 minutes and it's starting another section with a diagram. So we'll pause right here. All right. So we'll pick this back up here on this page tomorrow. I'll pause at a good place because I had to go through and start with this. So going through, hold on. It's kind of just when you first start, it's introducing you like this, like the next few days. It's going through like introducing you to like everything, the terms, just kind of get you familiar before it really start getting into the meat and the potatoes of everything, so to speak. That's good, and he does it in every single one of his books, right? Just in case, I mean, he writes it like this is the only book that you've ever read from him and probably will be the only one you will ever read. So I like how he does that. So if you ever get one, he explains some of these same concepts over and over again, always at the beginning, just to kind of get you up to date to where we at now so you can comprehend the rest of what we're about to go through. So, all right, y'all. So that's it for today. 35. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. It is Thursday, April the 14th, 2022, day 82 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1100. 1100. We read the OAHSPE and we started at the editor's notes and we got through like that first little section. I didn't even put the page number for that. We started at page XIX. And then we picked up the meditation book by Dr. OAHSPE, which you can get from Amazon. Got the link if you don't have it. Look in the community section, right? We read pages 31 through 35. All right, beautiful people. Tomorrow we will be here. Passover does begin tomorrow at sundown, but we up early in the day, so it won't affect the reading for tomorrow morning. Saturday is the Sabbath anyway, so we ain't gonna be here, which is also the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is also a Sabbath, the first and the last day. It's crazy how it lines up on time because these feasts, if you calculate them correctly, they should align with the current moon cycle. And when you have a feast that falls into a particular moon cycle and it has Sabbath days, it should line up on the moon cycle, the Sabbaths for that moon cycle, right? So up until this point, we got the count correct, right? Okay, I'm just saying so. But we will be back here Sunday, and we'll go on with the week, and then the last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread, we won't be here because it'll be a Sabbath again. All right, so y'all, that's it. Thank y'all for hanging out. May all that you learn in life follow you, and may you be able to apply it in righteous ways, and things that you've learned that you shouldn't apply, may you have the strength to stay away from, right? Use wisdom. May your life grow daily. Or may you grow in life daily. All right, y'all. That's it. I'm out of here. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Bright and early. 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Boo.